Fiakale, fiakale. Ifyansele fiakale. Amampulu yakale. Ifitala fiakale. Ukabeta kumwena kobo. Ita kumwena kokubana bainonkulo. Ukabeta kumwena kobo. Wikabuto kama fyanga ya isayeye. Kazongo wakula. Ukasalia banobe vamoni nenguye. Woni nenguye. Kazongo wakula. Ukasalia babiobe vamo viposwa ye. Oh viposwa ye. Kazongo wakula. Ukasala banobe vamo vinenguye. Oh ninenguye. Kazongo wakula ye. Ukasalia banobe vamo viposwa ye. Oh viposwa ye.
How are you, sir?
Afternoon. I'm all right. How are you, Chief?
I'm very fine.
Great to meet you. I can't tell you how excited I am right now.
It's my pleasure. Really my pleasure.
You know, we actually did a piece on you 2017. I think you spoke to Victoria, but then it was a bit of a light kind of interview that we put out, but it was more like a question answer type of thing. She's actually supposed to be joining us, so we'll just give her about 5 minutes. If not, then we can get started. We can proceed.
All right. Okay. No problem.
Otherwise, how are you?
I'm very fine. Just busy with work and everything else. Otherwise, yeah.
No, I can see you've been putting out some content recently. How has the COVID affected your performances and all of that?
I mean, we are hungry out here. We are hungry, because we haven't been working.
Is that why you did that cover of PK Chishala?
Yes. But maybe the other reason is just to, like towards election, it's our job as artists to just talk about these things so that we just keep our politicians accountable.
True.
Simple. Yeah.
Very true. And
we just remind them that we can see what's happening and we still have the power to influence people. Yeah.
Yes. And I think that sometimes our leaders forget and they focus a lot on the campaigns and that, and it's like the most important thing is the people.
That's true.
Yeah. So Chomba is coming on just now.
I can see her.
Yeah, but she's muted, I think. Chomba? Yeah. Just unmute yourself, Chomba.
You have to send her a message. She can't see.
Oh, yeah.
She can't hear you.
Let me see. Here's my chat.
Okay, can you hear me now?
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. I hope I'm not late.
No, just on time.
Okay.
You are late.
You are late, Chomba. Apparently you are late. So you need to apologize now.
You're 1 minute late. At least you are better. Zambians are always 1 hour late.
And that's notorious, hey?
So you are a different Zambian. At least you are 1 minute late.
How are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, so I was just explaining to James that, remember, Chomba, the profile that you did with him. When
Yes,
was
I
it?
do.
2017.
Should be like almost 4 years ago.
Yes.
That was 2017, yeah?
Yeah, that's like literally 4 years ago.
Wow.
So I'm sure you've been busy in between. You've probably even forgotten about the profile.
Trust me, I won't even sit here and lie that I can remember. Oh, that was it. I've forgotten. I've really forgotten. Now I'm thinking, which one was it? Because I remember there's a lady who interviewed me from. It was a question and answer. She sent me questions on WhatsApp. Then I sent back the answers. I think she was from South Africa. Oh no, not South Africa. Was it Namibia or I don't know? I've forgotten.
No, it's
but it was a Southern African magazine.
Yes.
Yeah, that's me.
That was you, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I remember.
So now
I truly remember.
Okay. Yeah, because it was not in person. It was question and answer via WhatsApp.
Yes. Via WhatsApp, yes.
Yeah,
wow.
I do.
Yeah, so at least now we can do it in person. Exactly. And I thought let me involve Chomba, because she was involved in the first one as well. So it's a nice continuation as well on her side.
That's true.
Cool. I see you are in studio and you've got everything set up. Does that mean that we are actually good to go with the performances, or are we still going to do the? I will still
need to send you the recorded performance.
I see.
Because we haven't managed to plug the sound into the system, so we can be audible.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. We can always work with that.
Sure.
Yeah, so maybe just to give you a bit of an introduction of the magazine. We are ZASA in itself is an organization. It's a non-governmental organization, non-profit organization, which was established some years back. The collective actually started back in the 90s. And the idea was to bring Zambians who were in South Africa together. So magazine, the way it came about is ZASA itself, the organization, was looking for a way of communicating to its members as well as broadening the audience. So that's where we came in now with the magazine, and we started this in when was it, 2015. October, where we started off with one of the branches, and then we expanded it to the nationwide. And then when we launched the website, it spilled over across the borders. And right now we are in about 180 countries worldwide across all of the continents. We've got an audience of about 29,000. So it's picked up pretty well. So that's just a brief history of who we are, just to give you an idea of who you are talking to. We are based in South Africa. Chomba, are you in SA or in Zambia right now?
Right now I'm in Zambia.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So we've got Chomba is one of the contributors for the magazine. I am the editor and co-founder for the magazine. So that's the team. And so is there anything that you want to ask before we get started?
Nothing at all. I'm good. It's clear. I think it's clear. It's clear enough. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. So I first came across your music when Chomba was doing the initial putting the initial profile on you, and I simply fell in love with the music, and it's a different sound. It's something that it felt like it was something that Zambia was actually losing. Like the Kalindula sound, the folk, that kind of sound. It's something that we were losing, and it feels like you revived that and brought it back. And the way that you've done it is in a contemporary sort of style, which resonates with a lot of people. And I just want to get like maybe let's start with you and where that comes from, that inspiration comes from. What brought that on? What made you go into that in that direction?
Okay, thank you. So for the longest time, I had been running away from who I am truly are, in the sense that, because I don't know if you know that I used to be Chameleon's backup singer, and apart from him, I worked with I worked with Mampi, I worked with Taitu, Ozzy, with the late Christo Sean, so I was a musician trying to start this joining in the game with the new school kind of music, you know what I mean? And then over the years, I realized that I wasn't doing something which was, sitting in my heart. I was just trying
James?
I quit in Mukushi. Can you hear me? Can you? Okay.
You broke up for a bit, yeah. So you were saying that you were trying to do something?
Yes. So I was trying to, I was trying to join the queue, obviously, like become like every other musician out here. So I remember at some point I quit because it wasn't really sitting in my heart, So I had to go back in Mukushi, where I come from, where I grew up, and that's where I realized what I needed to be. So I was simply running away from a sound that I was born to do, which is Kalindula. So when I came back, I think that's when I went through my self-discovery phase, and I knew exactly what I needed to do, which I was born to do. So when I started doing this music now, it was just flawless.
So okay, that's interesting. Why were you trying to run away from it? Maybe that's a question.
Yeah, maybe I wasn't really trying to run away. Maybe because I am growing up in this generation where everyone else is doing this sound. So the moment you tell yourself you want to be a musician, automatically your mind is set on joining everyone else, becoming another Chameleon or another Afunika or another, you know what I mean? So to discover yourself is a different place where every artist is supposed to be, you know what I mean? Like every artist, I think every artist needs to go through a phase of self-discovery so they can know what exactly they can do. I'll give you an example. Exile, before he started recording music as a singer, he used to be a rapper. He's not a work rapper, obviously. He's a very good rapper. I've heard like 2-3 songs where he's rapping, And when he discovered himself, he started singing, and the singing is the one that has gotten him where he is now. Yeah.
True. So you're from Mukushi originally. Just give us a bit of that background. Where you grew up, and your parents, are they still around? Who you grow up with? Where were you born there? What's your background there?
Okay, so I was born in Zimbabwe in 1983. My mother is a Motswana, from Botswana. And then my dad used to work for Zimbabwe Railways, but he was Zambian.
Right.
So yeah, so he was born in Zimbabwe. He worked, he did his school in Zimbabwe, worked and died in Zimbabwe, and we buried him in Zimbabwe. But both his parents were Zambian. My grandparents, they were from Petauke, Chief Mumbi. Koma village. So in 1986, my grandparents decided to come back to Zambia and like settle back in Zambia. And then almost the same time, my parents were going through a divorce. So it was decided that me and my sister should, move back to Zambia with my grandparents, because my mother at the time, she wasn't really working. So it was difficult for her to take care of us. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we settled in Mukushi when we came back. And that's where I did my grade 1 up to grade 12. Unfortunately, I've never done any, after secondary school, like tertiary school. For me, it's only grade 12. Yeah.
Oh, I see. All right. And when does the music start? How does that come in?
Okay, so I finished my grade 12 in 2002, and 2003, 2004, we were just walking around, just being people, my school leavers with no plan. And, I didn't really have people to, pay for my college. Yeah, my college. So we started doing stuff with my friends, like trying to discover things. I think I even did volleyball at some point. I was very good at it, but it wasn't really something that I really wanted to do. Then we started a drama group because the Ministry of Health had a program on water and sanitation. So they needed to sensitize the communities. So
when is this?
This is 2004.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, so we formed a group with my friends, just an excited bunch of people, so we can make a bit of some money, because they told us, 500 kwacha chila muntu, you know what I mean? So so we grouped up and we started doing that community drama. But it wasn't where we're not doing the professional drama. So I remember Ministry of Local Government decided to get funding from World Bank. Was it World Bank or Africa? Oh no, Africa Development Bank.
Right.
And they got funding to train groups across the country. So one group in each province, in each district. So in Mukushi, fortunate enough, my group was picked, and that's how we got a training to be thespians. And I got 2 certificates, and now I'm properly trained in acting, community mobilization, and all that stuff. Basically popular theater. So that's how it started. So through popular theater, I discovered I could sing. And I started learning how to play guitar, and the rest is now here where we are.
So before that, you had no idea that you had this talent?
Nah, nothing. I just remember back in school, I used to be a Rumba dancer. So we had a group with my friends, like 3 of us. And from 2001 to 2002, we came out best Rumba dancing trio. So I knew I had moves in me, but I never knew that it was actually more,
I see.
Yeah.
All right. And so now, how does it then get, or maybe just let's stay with the upbringing, the background. Tell me about the headgear, because you're always wearing this.
Okay, so apart from every other answer that I'm going to give you, I've always believed that I'm a king. I went through what I went through growing up because I've got something special in me. So this is just to remind me that I'm not an ordinary person. I'm different, I'm unique. There's something that burns in me that I still haven't really properly discovered, So this is the
journey of discovery.
Yes, so I'm still going through that journey of self-discovery. But then apart from that, I'm an old soul. I grew up, with my grandparents, and they taught me a lot of things about life. And this is just to say, you have to respect your grandfather rest in peace, Mr. Ngomasha Sakala. He was a Ngoni warrior, and he really believed in his roots. And this is an example of the belief that I have in my roots. I'm very much Christian, but I know a lot of things.
And how long has this this been where you felt the need to have the reminder?
So when I discovered that the music I needed to do was Kalindula, I discovered a lot of things about myself. So the music was just one of them. I also discovered that I was a griot, a storyteller. Right. I also discovered that I was an old soul. Someone, I know that you know what an old soul means. Someone that
maybe explain that a little bit.
Maybe for lack of a better explanation, I would say someone who how can I put it?
Lives across generation.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, someone who lives across generations. So meaning that I relate with the older generation, the generation before me, and also the generation to come. Yeah.
How did you discover that?
Well, I went through a phase of self-discovery. Obviously, I did a lot of meditation, and just talking to elderly people and just going back to my history, how I grew up, and trying to search. I did a lot of search, like self-searching, and I think it really helped me know who I really am. I've seen that a lot of us young people don't really understand ourselves, and we don't really understand our full potential.
And that's key, because that leads me to what I wanted to ask again. How important do you feel that it is? Because for me personally, I feel like the magazine is my way of discovering our culture, discovering where we come from. It's just a way of documenting all of that. And how important do you feel that it is for the younger generation to go through that self-discovery journey, and go back to their roots, go back to their parents, go back to the elders, and get an understanding of where they come from? How important is that, and what does it do for us?
Okay, so in short, I would say it's very important, because that's what will preserve our life. If you look at the way life is now, I think people are losing it because they don't really know who they are. So they end up following trends and doing a lot of weird things that are not really protecting our well-being. There's a lot of mental health instability nowadays. Like a lot of people are going through all that funny stuff. Back in the day, such problems were not common. Yeah, they were not common. If you see someone mentally disturbed, then you know that maybe bali mulowa, or you know what I mean. Like it's just a proper mental problem that condition, they have. Yes, condition, like they're just running mad or something. But nowadays, a lot of people are going through. This is why a lot of young people are drinking a lot, using drugs, because they don't really understand who they are. When you fully understand, I can't say I fully understand myself. I'm still going through that phase of self-discovery. But what I know now can't allow me to just fall for anything as long as it looks good in my eyes. You know what I mean? I always remind myself that I'm a king. I'm supposed to set trends. I'm supposed to help young people. I'm supposed to talk to a lot of people who are looking up to me.
And is that something? And is that something that you try and bring into the music that you do?
Exactly. I actually don't try. That's what I do. For me, every other song that you hear from me, I am teaching. I am telling a story tour that. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So you're telling a story?
Yes. So I'm telling a story. I am teaching. I am You know, even when I sing a love song, it has to come from a place where people can relate, you know. I've got Namfumo. I don't know if you fully understand the lyrics. If you listen to that song, I am talking about something special that two people who are in love are supposed to experience. You know, I want people to relate with my music at every level. I don't want to sing songs that will just make people dance and then they ask questions like, what is he really talking about? I don't want that. I want to make music that in the near future, parents will use it to teach their children. That's what I want.
And so now that you've touched on Namfumu, where does that come from? What story, what message were you trying to portray when you did that song? It's a beautiful song, and it resonates with a lot of people. Is that coming from a personal experience? Is that something that you've seen happening around you? Where did that message come from?
Okay, so first of all, my music comes from God. I've always believed that my creator communicates with me what he wants me to sing at every point in time. Whenever I drop a song, it's coming from him, from above. But the way I connect with him when he's talking to me is my surroundings. So when I wrote Namfumu, I was going through a heartbreak, you know, like a breakup. I was going through a breakup. I was dealing with a heartbreak. And when I wrote that song, it's simply a message that came from God to say, this is a type of love that every person deserves. So don't sing about the disappointment that you are going through. Celebrate a woman. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So it was basically me celebrating a woman that I would want to have and show her a level of love that I can give her as a person. Yeah.
All right. So now, just taking it a little bit back to you've now come out of college. Well, not college. I mean, you've
Secondary
now
school.
come from secondary school. You've gone into this group, and you've come up with this group. Where does the chameleon, the backup, the singing, and all of that come in now? How does that all come about?
Yeah, so with the group, I discovered, obviously, like I mentioned, I discovered I could sing. I started learning how to play guitar. And so fast forward, I'm going to Chameleon because it's a long story, obviously. It's a journey. You know, at some point, I even went and auditioned with George Chiwangu, may his soul continue resting in peace. Legend, singer, producer, and guitarist. So I went and auditioned with him, and I remember very well when I auditioned what he said to me. He asked me, what else do you do in Mukushi? So I told him, I said, I'm a farmer. My parents have a farm and I grew up at a farm. Then he said, if I were you, I would continue with farming, than this that you're about to, start. But, funny enough, yes, I was pissed off, because I felt drained. I felt like he shot me, you know what I mean? But I don't think I held on to that anger. Quickly, I took that as a positive advice. Basically what he was saying is, if you have to come in this game, you have to be serious. You have to be more serious than you think you are, because this is not child's play. Music is not easy. It's not a place where it's not like a playing ground where you just go with teaching pombwa and play around with your friends, and when you're tired, you leave. No. Music is more than just making beats and putting lyrics on a beat. It's spiritual. It's something that people should protect, and hold with high regard, because it's very spiritual. I'll tell you something before I go on giving you the answer that you are waiting for. I'll tell you something. Music is a gift that was given to the devil himself. It was a gift that was given. And so after he messed up, obviously they chased him from heaven, and he's somewhere in the places where he's settling. He's not going to be happy that you, as a James Sakala, you grew up in Mukushi, you come with this talent and everyone is celebrating you. So he will do anything make sure that no matter how talented you are, you will be a person that is not properly organized, for lack of a better explanation, you know. This is why you find that a lot of creatives are not organized. A lot of creatives fall prey to drugs and all these other funny things, you know, because the devil is a jealousy, you know, is a jealous spirit. So you make sure that he confuses you. This is why you find most musicians go through a lot of hardships before they can make it. Or if they make it, you know, they will be dealing with a lot of things like drugs. They'll be dealing with a lot of things like being attacked, being, you know, just they deal with a lot of weird things.
To get derailed from their actual path. Oh.
Exactly. So it's the devil doing that because he's jealous. That's his talent. You are sharing the gift that he was the first being to be gifted. You know what I mean?
That's deep.
So for me, when I discovered that, you know, I tried by all means to hold a side that is that will try and keep me sane, you know, that will protect my well-being, even my mental well-being, so that whatever I do, at least it can be an example to people that are trying to be, you know, to do this thing. Yeah. So then that's when I met George Chibangu, and he had that advice for me. When I went back to Mkushi, I worked on myself. I became a better guitarist, a better songwriter, a better singer. And one of the musicians now, this is where Chameleon comes in. One of the musicians that really helped me with my personal growth as a musician was Chameleon. So I sang a lot of his songs with my guitar. You know, I sang a lot of songs. So this one time he came to Mkushi, I think he had just released his second album. He came to Mkushi with Mampi with a live band. And so he was performing and I was there with my friends, you know, enjoying the music, you know, singing his songs. And then he says, if there's anyone who can sing one of my songs with the band here, I'm going to give you a CD. So it was my opportunity, you know. My friends pushed me on stage. I was scared. I won't even lie to you. I was scared, but my friends pushed me onto the stage and I sang Naliendele, that Naliendele Konseine. Yeah. And it was my first time singing with a band, but I held on to the beat and, you know, I had fun, you know, it was the first time and I felt like I was already a star, you know what I mean? I saw it and he was impressed. He says, come to Lusaka. When you come to Lusaka, call me. So he gave me his number. And fast forward, after a few months, I came to Lusaka. I didn't have where to stay. Luckily, I met a friend that I was with in school in grade 9. That was in 1999. You know, from nowhere. I had not seen him from that time till 2006. And I met him in town in Lusaka.
Wow.
That's how I started staying with him. And I ended up staying with him for 4 years in the time that I worked with Chameleon. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. And then and after Chameleon, because you did that for the 4 years, and then after that, what happens after that then?
So after that, I went through, you know, like, you know, where you are doing things. Obviously, I traveled with him. I got to know Zambia with him. I went to Nakonde, Chipata. I went to Livingstone, Mumbwa, you know, in Lusaka here, Kasama. We even went to Tanzania with him. So I got to know places, obviously, but then I wasn't satisfied. This is where now that self-satisfactory comes in now, where I never felt it. I felt like I was doing things that I wasn't supposed to do. So I quit. I went back to Mkushi. And when I discovered myself, I came back instead of recording because I knew that I needed to go through a phase of learning what now I had discovered in me, you know. Obviously, I knew it was there in me, but I needed to shape it. So I started now listening to a lot of Kalindula music. This is where PK Chala comes in now. I listened to a lot of PK Chala, a lot of Mlemena Boys, Pongozi, you know, Nasho Pichen Kazembe, you know, the Laban Kalungas, you know, the Matanki Band. You know, I made myself an archive of all these musicians, you know, the John Mwansas, Serenja Kalindula, because now I wanted to understand the genre that I had discovered in me, you know. So for that period of time when I was going through that self-discovery, I worked in studios as a producer and a songwriter, Unique Records. I worked at So Good Entertainment for some time until 2013, when I moved to Blazer Studios, where I did my first album. That's where I recorded my first song. So in the time that I was writing songs for people, I was also writing these songs that people didn't really manage to sing, and some of them were shunning them because they sounded old school, you know. And that's the music that I ended up recording now as my music. So it was Kalindula, which didn't really sound Kalindula.
Yeah. When you listen to your music, it's like I said, it's got that the roots in it, but then it's very, very modern, and it's very. Is that something that you consciously decided to do with it? Or is it something that's just naturally evolved because of the times?
I think it's just naturally evolved because of time. Because I'll give an example. It's like how a white person and a black person, when they marry, they obviously produce color. So I'm a person who was born in today's time, but I'm an old soul. You know what I mean? Obviously, my rhythms, my subconsciously, my rhythms are today. You know what I mean? Are those of today. But my message and my voice is that of yesterday, you know. So it's a blend that comes naturally. Yeah.
I hear you. That makes a lot of sense. Now we spoke about you having messages a message that's being passed on through you from God, through using the same form that the format that which is music. You did a cover a little while ago, and we touched on it a little bit earlier on when we started the interview.
The chat, yes.
When we started the chat, the cover of the Common Man cover by PK Chishala.
Yes.
This was just now, last month, 28.
Yeah.
What gave you what message are you trying to put out across by doing that cover? What made you choose that specific song for the cover?
Okay, so apart from the other things, that song has always been one of my favorite Kalindula songs. If you listen to that song, it's not really Kalindula. It's in between Kalindula, and it's like what we are talking about. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's one of PK Chala's best properly recorded numbers that he did. So there's that one, and there's Mpumba Mikowa. That those are the two most favorite songs of all time by PK Chala, you know. But then the other answer is that, you know, we are going into, this is an election year for us here back in Zambia, and you know, politicians are now coming out here to promise us a lot of things that they might not even you know, deliver. You know, we've seen the 90 days change that were promised. We never saw it. We've heard about the Wi-Fi 90 days. We've never seen it. You know, there's a lot of things. Those are just two examples that I can give you. So when I sang that song, I was simply just reminding politicians to say, we are here and we can hear you and see you promise us all these things, but don't forget that you need to own up to your promises, because if you don't own up, we are going to die with hunger. And a country that is going through hunger, you know what I mean? Like it brings shame to its people. So whatever happens, whatever you do in your offices, whatever decisions you make sure that we have food to eat and clothes to wear.
Very important. And aside from that message now being passed to the leadership, to the people, the politicians, what message in the same vein would you then pass on to the people that follow you, to the voters, the people that are going to be going to the booths in those decisions?
Yeah. Okay. So this is. I think that's a very important question that you've asked, because most times we just focus on, telling off the leaders, like, hey, Imwe, you promised us this, what. But I think we also need to, remind our friends, our fellow people, our fellow voters, to say, even as we vote, we should analyze these people, scrutinize them, and choose leaders that we think are going to deliver what we expect. It's simple. I think that's where everything else begins from. It's like when you go to the market, you want to buy tomatoes. You find a lot of marketeers, displaying their tomatoes, at the same price. But you are the one who's supposed to make a decision which tomato you think can work for your meal, So that's how politicians are. They all come forward to promise us things. Some of them even give us money. They buy us meal. They do all sorts of things. But when they give you money, it doesn't mean they have good plans for you. You know what I mean? Sometimes they're just giving you money to buy you, so they can now, when you vote for them, they can do their agendas. That's how it is. So it's up to us as we vote to choose the right leaders, the leaders that we think are right for those offices.
Yeah, and a very important thing is you can only look at yourself if you choose, you end up with the leaders that you deserve. So
Exactly.
The people that you choose to put into power are the people that you're going to end up with. So
That's true.
That decision, that power lies in our hands.
In our hands, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So and then gender-based violence, abuse, and all of those things are one of the hot topics at the moment. It's something that a lot of women are going through, and it's you song God Will, which I think, if I'm getting it right, if I'm reading it correctly, sort of addresses that same thing. What made you put that song together?
Okay. Remember that I mentioned that my songs come from God. So I had this message, I looked at the church. So that song is actually, I know it's for everyone, but I want you to.
James?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry,
Yeah,
people keep trying to call me because I'm using my phone for, yeah.
Oh,
so in the church today, there's a lot of pretense, there's a lot of people who are going through abusive marriages, and they are just, staying in the marriage because, one, they don't want to disappoint their pastors or their moms, their spiritual moms, They don't want to look like they failed the marriage because the church is going to think, oh, a lot of people out there, even outside the church, are failing to leave those marriages because they are thinking, if I move with the children, how am I going to survive? Let me stay. In Bemba, they say, where you are staying in a marriage because you want the children to grow up in a house where there's their mother and their father, But at the end of the day, we forget that the abuse that you are going through is going to disturb your mental health, And then your children need you to be in the best, health that you can be mentally, so that you can mentor them to be good children. You know what I mean? So, and then the other thing we forget is that these abusers, they get to a point where they become familiar with abusing you, where they can even abuse you in front of their children. And this is why you find there's a lot of broken men out here who are out here using women, abusing women, because they saw how their parents abused their mothers. So it becomes a normal thing, So I feel like, yes, I feel like to protect that, we have to be at a place where if you see the signs, because you can see the red flags, people decide to ignore them because they are thinking, he will change, it's just his way of showing me how much he loves me. But it doesn't work like that. When you see the red flags, it's your time to say, leave the marriage and God will take care of you. I know that God doesn't encourage divorce. He actually hates divorce, but he also doesn't like seeing his children being abused. You have to be you have to be happy. If you are in a marriage, you have to be happy. I know that members say which means 2 trees that are close to each other will always rub against each other, meaning that when you're married to someone, or when you're in a relationship, you have fights,
arguments, yeah.
Yes, but then they shouldn't be they shouldn't be now your lifestyle. Fights are not supposed to be a lifestyle. They are not supposed to be. They are not supposed to be. I don't know what term I can use, but they shouldn't like it shouldn't be an everyday thing. You know what I mean? I think people are supposed to.
It should not be the default. Yeah.
Yes, it shouldn't be the default. Of your relationship. So a lot of people have killed each other in home. Hello, are you there?
Yeah, we're here. You disappeared.
Yeah, so we've
shouldn't
seen
be
a lot
a default, yeah.
It shouldn't be a default. We've seen a lot of couples killing each other, stabbing each other, assaulting each other, getting to a level where one goes to the mortuary, the other goes to, Yeah, sorry, my phone.
No worries. All right, you're back now.
Yeah. So we've seen these incidents where people are killing each other and whatnot. And basically what we are saying is we shouldn't get to that level. It's better to see things when they are just starting, and you protect your well-being and live, and God will do the rest for you. Yeah.
True. Very true. Very important message. And I feel like a lot of women don't just sit and they end up living that as a norm, which is it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't
be. Yeah.
Chomba, before I ask another question, because I know I've been going, I don't think I gave you a chance to ask.
Okay. Initially, when you started, because you call yourself an old soul, how did young people receive your music?
Sorry, come again?
I'm saying when you started initially, how did young people receive your music?
Well, that's a very interesting question. It was very tricky. It was very tricky because people had already moved. Like for the past 10 years, they had been listening to this type of music that that seemed like it was now the normal Zambian music. It was the accepted sound, And for me, coming out with a sound that sounds like a yesterday sound, people made fun of it here and there. People didn't really, appreciate it. But over time, I've seen that I've been gaining followers that feel like, this is the type of music they're supposed to be listening to. Music is like food. Obviously, when you go to Egypt today, if you've never been to Egypt, you'll find the chicken and chips and the what, but you also find Egyptian food, So you have to decide on your own if you want to try it or you just want to eat the normal food that you know. that's how it is. Music is like food. Yeah, it goes with preferences. You know, people prefer Kalindula, some people prefer hip hop, some people prefer, you know, all these types of music. So yeah, it was tricky, but I feel like the following has been growing steadily over the years, and I'm getting to a very good place now. Yeah.
Okay. One more question. If you could change anything in the industry, what would it be? What?
Yeah.
You can go ahead.
Okay. Well, I don't think I have specific things that I would want to change, but maybe one of the things I would love to change really is the attitude that we have as musicians in Zambia. The attitude towards work, our work ethic, you know, this late coming, this late delivering of things, the late of just being late at everything you want to be late. It has to change. You know, I had an opportunity to work with a South African production company. Well, not really studio production, but stage, live performance production. With the Stanbic music festivals that I had been doing for the past 6 years, I learned that time is everything in entertainment, especially with our friends, like for example South Africans. Timekeeping is everything. You know, everything that you have to do have to start from your time management. You know, everything is counted, everything is timed. The time you're coming on stage, what you're going to say to people is timed. How much you are supposed to say is timed. How the time you're leaving the stage, the time you're going to the holding room, even you being in the holding room is timed. They will tell you are going to be in your holding room for 20 minutes. It will be exactly 20 minutes. If you go in the holding room late, they are knocking off from your pay by a certain percentage. You know.
Okay.
So I saw that time for them is like a starting point for them to be organized. If you don't observe your time, no matter how much you want to be organized, you will never be, if you can't observe time. So that's one of the things that I would love to change in the industry. But then also just the policies. The thing is, I don't think we even have policies that we can say we have policies that protect us as musicians or the industry. I don't think so. You know, but I would love to see, especially the government, whether we like or not. I know that people out here will always say, no, don't throw everything at the government. Some things are just personal things. The fact is, the one who is in control of the country is the government. And for any policy, even in whether entertainment or whether food or agriculture or everywhere, for every policy to become a law and be observed by the stakeholders, it begins with how much the government endorses it. That's just the truth, you know.
Okay.
So whether on
that one, let's say you've got an official who's sitting in government, and I think there's an arts department, which deals with the arts. What would they need to do in order for them to start saying, for you to say that, okay, the government is now starting to look after us in terms of policy making, in terms of driving the policies forward? What would that official need to do?
Okay, so, you know, we obviously there's a lot of things that we want to see change, you know what I mean? And over the years, a lot of musicians or people in the arts have tried to reach out to the government to say, help us. But then through different people that represent the government, they've always given us answers like, how can we help you? How do you want us to help you? You know, it's up to you to start things and then we can just support. But over the years, I think the art industry has tried to start things. We've tried to fight piracy. We've never really seen the government come in full force to help us fight piracy. You know, if they allow police to escort us in town, that's not enough. You know, we want to see the government seize machines from people that are pirating music. Quite all right, we accept that piracy is here to stay because everywhere there's piracy, even in America, you know. How can the government help us today to see that we are making money off our music, even if there's piracy? Right now, the world has gone digital. The government is the one that controls ZASA today. How much has ZASA helped us to make money? We've been coming up with ideas to do online events and whatnot. We can't make money if ZASA is not part of it, because if we want any IP addresses to lock our links so that people can pay, to unlock them, we will need ZASA to come in with their intelligence and their power to help us do that. But ZASA is just focused on other things, you know. We've been, you know, through our representing offices like Zambia National Arts Council and also Zambia Association of Musicians. We've been pushing in applications on different ideas that we have, and nothing really has been done. I'll give you another example. In the times of the first Republican president, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, there's a point in time when he said we should, he basically said no playing foreign music. We want 100%. Well, I don't know the percentage, but for example, I'll just say he said we want 90% local music to be played at any, you know, TV and radio station. And that's the time when Kalindula music gained its power and Kalindula musicians started making money. Remember that all these guys started recording outside Zambia. You know, National Pitch and Kazembe recorded in Kenya, The Witch recorded in Kenya, you know, Pongozi, the likes of Pongozi, you know, traveled towards Zambia and started going to other countries, recorded in Kenya. This is when Till Records made a studio in Dola. It was a proper, nice, professional, international standard studio that we've never had since its closure. We've never had a studio like that one in Zambia, you know, because they felt the power and all these other companies started coming to Zambia, you know. When everything else went back to the normal, you know, just listening to everything, and the Zambian music started losing its power, this is when Till Records closed. You know, there's a company which was selling live instruments, closed. You know, I hear, was it Sony which was here? It closed, it went back, you know. All these things left because now Zambia didn't really have anything
protecting the music.
Yeah, it wasn't, the music wasn't protected. So they knew they were not going to make money. You know what I mean? So South Africa right now, you can't go to South Africa, no matter how talented you are, and expect to break through their industry. Why? Because they have policies that protect their musicians. This is why every musician in South Africa is doing fine, because their music is protected. You know, their population consumes more of their music than any other music. You know, that's what we need. Right now, every radio station, even including the national radio station itself, they are playing foreign music more than it plays, you know, local music, which is wrong. You know.
So, would you suggest that a quota system would work?
Sorry, what? Sorry, come again.
So, would you suggest like that a quota system would work? Like they say, a certain percentage of the music needs to be local, a certain percentage needs to be.
Definitely, that's where it's supposed to begin from, you know, because right now, I know it's difficult to control that because people are downloading music online and all these platforms. People, you know, it's digital now, you know, everyone, even young people have access to YouTube and whatnot, and iTunes and Spotify and all those things. But I think it will still help to say, let's put percentage to say radio stations or TV stations, this is the music you're supposed to play, you know, at a bigger percentage. And then the rest of the percentage you can share, you know, amongst every other country that you want. You know, it will really help because people will start. celebrating these other artists.
You're back.
Yes, I'm back. So yeah, so I was saying it will help a lot because now people subconsciously, they will have their sound more than the foreign sound. Yeah.
Nice. I've got a few more questions. Chomba, do you have anything you want to ask before I go?
I'd like to find out how you promote your music.
Okay, so the music promotion, like I said, obviously, the radio stations are not really taking us serious. You release a song, they'll just play it for 2-3 days or a week, and then it will fall off and they will continue playing the video and everyone else, So now what we are doing is where every other country, I think it's a worldwide thing. People have gone visual now. So if you don't have videos, you can't really promote your music. Unfortunately, I haven't really had an opportunity to do videos because of a few things, obviously fund related and whatnot. And also just finding a team that can really understand my direction. Because if you can agree with me that nowadays videos are more of bling and all that funny stuff, you find that someone is singing a song that talking about tradition and they are driving a convertible Benz, S500, what, for me it doesn't really make sense. So it's been difficult for me to find a team that really understands my vision as a musician and what I want to communicate, and also a team that can make the funds available. Yeah, and thanks that I'm now signed under Elation Entertainment, and they are ready to take up some of those things, and they fully understand my vision and where I really want to go as a musician. So yeah.
So visually, how would you then translate your music visually? Ideally, what would represent your music if you were to translate it visually?
So my music is not really the village music, but I just want to tell stories in my music. Like I'll give you an example. In a few weeks, we'll be shooting the video for God Will. I don't think we want to go to the village, obviously, but we don't want to do unnecessary things like driving a convertible BMW, what, all those things that don't really matter in our day-to-day lives. You know what I mean? For me, I want to tell stories. I want the story that I'm singing about in a song to be told even visually, so that people can relate. And most Africans are living under $1. I don't think if I pull up with those kind of cars and nice clothes and whatnot, I'll be portraying what really I am. No, I don't want to live a lie. I'm not shooting down anyone. I know that that's like, for example, for hip hop artists, that's their lifestyle. You know what I mean? They have to sell you a lifestyle that they don't live. That's how their music is set up. But for my music, I don't think I should be copying them. Sadly, I've seen that most of my fellow artists out here are doing what hip hop artists are doing. You find they are singing about a funeral and they are showing things that are not funeral related. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think maybe this might be something that you can consider, because I'm in no way an expert. So
yeah, sure.
Throwing something out. For example, I've got a sister who was going through an abusive relationship, and this is your average woman who would be going through such a thing, middle-aged, has a job, and both working, and they are living in a suburb. That's the life that you see, and from the outside, what you are seeing is this perfect family, this family that's just
exactly.
Every day they're going to church, every Sunday they go to events together and all of that. But when you break through that, when you go across it and you go into the actual home, that's where you now start seeing the actual abuse, and you start seeing the different ways in which in which it happens. I think maybe that's a way of portraying it. Not necessarily saying that it will be portraying the bling or any of that,
Yes,
but
yes.
it's still a real situation, a real scenario that everybody lives and can relate to.
Yeah, so that's true. Actually, you are speaking like you were there when we were writing the script. Actually, that's what we want to do, because if you listen to the song, I think that's basically what he's telling you. You know what I mean? Bembas say inganda baikumbo mtenge. So when you're outside the house, you look at the roof, you are like, oh wow, this roof is beautiful, but you don't know what it happens. You know, when you go in the house, you can't even want to sleep, to spend the night in that house. You know, so that's how it is, you know.
True. Okay, so you're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, cool. So maybe just to try and close it off, collaborations. Now you've done a range of collaborations, including a collaboration which I personally love, because I love that kind of music, with E.L. Mokuka, where you did that's such a such a beautiful collaboration.
Thank you so much.
What type of collaborations are you looking at getting into? Who would you love to collaborate with going into, as we progress now? Is there an album coming out, and with that album, are you looking at collaborations? What kind of collaborations are you looking at?
So I am working on an album. It's almost it's like maybe 45% done. Because I'm a live recording artist, so I am now going to a phase where I'm doing band recording, you know, and I'm excited. I'm really excited about that. At the moment, there's no collaboration yet on the project, because I also believe that if I have to collaborate with an artist, the song has to ask for that artist. You know, when I collaborated with Baba Oliver Mtukudzi, he invited me to his studio. We had been talking since 2014, and we only recorded in 2016, because now I had written a song that required him. You know, so I called him. I said that I now have a song, and then he says, "Come over." That's how we recorded the song. If you listen to the song, he sits well on the song, and we blend well, because it's the song that required him to be on it. Yeah. So when you listen to the album, there's only 2 collaborations. There's the one I did with the legendary guitarist Sir Jones Kabanga. If you listen to the song as well, it will tell you that this song really required it asked for this guitarist, you know. So I'm one person who doesn't really go looking for collaborations because I want to tap into their audience or whatnot, you know. I have a song with Pompey. If you listen to the song, it actually sounds like it's a song that really needed Pompey on it, you know. I have a song with Elizabeth, you know. And so for me, it's more of that than just getting excited because now I'm connected to so and so. I should do a song with them. I'm connected to, you know what I mean. I've had an opportunity to meet with a lot of musicians, especially in Southern Africa. You know, I met Double HP. I met that's the late Double HP. May so continue resting in peace. I met Oliver Mtukudzi himself, obviously. I met a lot of musicians in Zimbabwe, in Botswana, you know, but I don't really get excited to bring them in studio unless I have that conviction that I need to work with them. Yeah. So yes, collaborations are going to be there, but I'm not ready to announce now because I'm not really sure who is going to end up on the project.
Got you. All right, cool. And then you will be doing 3 songs for us. Obviously, you're going to be recording that off the podcast. This. Oh, by the way, what we normally do is the interview that we are doing now. We normally turn it into a podcast, which we send out on our YouTube channel. We also send it out on as a podcast, so people can listen to on the go.
Okay.
And then the content of it, we actually use it to do the article that's going to go into the magazine. So this is going to be the May edition. So you're going to be having 3 formats. So the music that you're going to be recording for us, what we're going to do is we're going to fuse it into the actual interview. So we're going to chop it up into the podcast itself. So when people are listening to it, then they have context and they hear it. So what songs are you going to be doing for us?
Okay, so I'm doing God Will.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we talked about God Will.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing Namfumu. We also touched a bit about Namfumu. And I'm also doing a song called Mwandu. It's a song where I'm just celebrating a friend of mine, a female friend of mine. We grew up together. We were in school since grade 1. And in 1999, she left. In 1998, she left me. She went to another school, but then we reunited recently. I think, was it last year or the other year? So she's married, obviously, happily married with a few kids, and we are friends. Yeah. So it's just a song to celebrate her because of what the meaning of her names. So yeah.
What is the meaning of the names?
So Mwandu means a beautiful flower, and then Inshimba is an animal. I don't know if you know it. Inshimba, it looks like a cat. It's a cat. It looks like a leopard.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, it just means someone who's fierce. Yeah, like someone who's fearless. Yeah.
Wonderful. How many languages do you speak, by the way? Because you are always you're always singing 10,000 different languages.
I know. So I'm quite familiar with quite a number of languages. I speak Ndebele. I speak Zulu. Obviously, Ndebele and Zulu is like one language, and Siswati is like one language. So I understand all these 3 languages, but I speak fluently Ndebele. Then I understand Shona as well, and I understand Tonga, and then I speak Bemba, Lala, Swaka, and Lamba, and then I speak Chichewa and Nsenga.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it. I thought I knew a lot of languages.
And then you can include English as well. Yeah.
And English, let's add it on.
Yes. Yeah.
My brother, thank you very, very much for your time. Is there anything else you want to add before we go? I hope you enjoyed your interview with us. So anything you want to add before we close off?
No, not really. All I want to say is I just want to thank you for having me on your platform. It really means a lot. I've seen that you really believe in me, because we did this interview before, and now we are doing another one. And I think each time we do it keeps getting better and better, and I keep giving you more information about myself. So, which is really humbling. You could have settled for any other musician out there, but you chose me. It really means a lot for me. So please continue with this work and interview as many artists as you can. We need to put our music on the map.
Yes,
we really need to put our music on the map. Next time, I want you to interview Mumbayachi or Teresa Ngambi or anyone else who's believing in the same vision that I also have. Yeah.
I would love to talk to Mumbayachi. Maybe you can connect us.
Definitely, with pleasure. Actually, I'll do it. When we just finish our interview, when we just finish our interview, I'll actually talk to him and tell him about you, and then I'll send you his number so you can start chatting on WhatsApp.
Wonderful. I'll greatly appreciate that.
Yeah.
Dala, thank you very much for your time, my brother.
Thank you so much, and Chomba, thank you so much for being around. I know that you've been hiding your face, but it's okay. We can still admire the one you're showing us.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Cheers.
All right, good day.
When do you think you guys will be able to send us the video?
So we're about. So he's already set up. We'll shoot today, but I don't know if he's going to send it today or they need to chop it and then send it maybe tomorrow latest.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you, and you're welcome. Thank you so much.
Oh, awesome stuff. Cheers.
Look at it. Mwamene umukondela, mwamene umusungila, umachita monga mngeli, but look at it. Mwamene akuvutila, daily kukudzudzula, amachita koka mwano. Panyumba samasiyapo kobili, koma kunja akapita ni big buy, ukati ukambepo chabe. Ninkondo, tenga bana bako, usayo penjila, usaleke pempero, and I promise you that God will make a way. Olozivute bwanji, God will make a way. God will make a way. Olozivute bwanji, God will make a way. Ntawizila umalila, zochita zibasoba, umafuna na kutenga umoyo, koma umalimbikila, uyu ndiwo kondeka wanga, anandilonjeza chikondi, koma dziko limasinta, lelo asinta. Amandiduzula nthawi zonse, amachita zamanyozo nthawi zonse, nankani za munyumba zimatuluka papwalo. Tenga bana bako, usayo penjila, usaleke pempero, and I promise you that God will make a way. Olozivute bwanji, God will make a way. God will make a way. Olozivute bwanji, God will make a way. Unachosewa kubantu maiwe, osatipashatini yayi, osamasungidwa monga mbala. Unakwatiwa kumuntu maiwe, osatichigabenga yayi, osamasungidwa monga mbala. I promise you that God will make a way. Olozivute bwanji, God will make a way. God will make a way. Olozivute bwanji, God will make a way. Thank you so much. That was God Will. God will surely make a way for you. Thank you. Ulipalo pakafwa mfumu, uko kumwentula kowe pakafwa mfumu, kulampelo mweo. Munsansa na mumafya, umutende umpela ukulowa kwa mutima obe nempukunya matobo shakaele. We mwana kashukuyemba kuwe kutula mukatika mutima, ukuyemba kwa fimana ate mwentanda kumuluye. Twende konga we, mwentula ntonta we, amenswayo wembeka. Na mfumu wesu wonse pano, mwandu shimba we, chalo chiwamana wewo, katasheshanine, aloyu kabumba wampala. Mwana shimba we, umibu wamana wewo, upukango buluba, aloyu kabumba wampala. Mwone chikuku yangu mutekati mane chikuku, ukafunde beli amano ya usakane chikuku. Ubuloshi mwishi na lyobe ilo nkulo ya puputulwa ubukaka bwa mutima obe nefipanda vyanonkae takulichinga nchifya ngandinobe we wapangirwa muchiata chakwe somfukatile mukwapa kobe twende babiri twende mubwananye na palonjendeye ukulowa kwa mutima obe nobuchi alabwakaele mwanjo nshimba we chialo chiwamana wewo katasheshanine aloyuka bumba wampala mwana nshimba we umivu wamana wewo mupukango buluba aloyuka bumba wampala oh aloyuka bumba wampala. Thank you. Yeah. Mutande mienshi apita mukutula mukapepo kakalambae abalimi nyanje babyala bantu infula yalowakae ngafili amatala yaloka ile wanjinoveye takulichinga tulekanya iyo wena mfumuliwe welu wafuliwe iluba lya mutima wandiniwe amafya yalaya yonse ngandinobe kabumbalesa pakupange sonde bobobo achimwene chaya naokopa damu kafa niwe watumwa mukumpele sasa nolupwa ulingo lukombo ne uwachila kakanwemo wena mfumuliwe welu bafuniwe iluba lya mutima wandiniwe amafya yalaya yonse ngandinobe limondalaba obusumo obwisa mutima obe okunsakamana nokunkoselesha lelo nangundube ichikuku chobe chilamfukatila nakutotela we mutemu ikwa lelo kankwimbile wena mfumuliwe welu bafuniwe iluba lya mutima wandiniwe amafya yalaya yonse ngandinobe wena mfumuliwe welu bafuniwe woko iluba lya mutima wandiniwe amafya yalaya yonse ngandinobe. Thank you. That was Namfumo with my friend here, LV.